Hey, Pat.
Hello, how are you?
Good, you?
Good.
You got the notice from Dorothy about Jennifer not coming, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see if we have an agenda. I mean, quorum.
Or,
Yeah.
I hope so. We have a lot of important things to talk about.
Really. Hey, Maria. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
Good.
So how many do we need for a quorum now?
Oh, God.
Any members?
I think around 4, 5, 4, I think. 4, I think. Let's look. Yeah, the Mason, Jennifer, and Vicky Nemorowski. So actually,
Will?
there's only 5 of
Will.
us, right?
No, there's Will.
There's Will.
Yep, and there's
So
The
we
minister.
need at least 4.
the minister from the Baptist church. Oh, why am I?
Ron.
Ron, yeah.
So we need at least 4 people.
Mhm.
One more and we have our quorum.
Yeah.
Give him a minute, maybe.
Hopefully everybody got a copy of my report. I had 2 challenges this week. I had gotten my booster shot and
Oh,
had a reaction for the first time.
wow.
I
Which
did do
Really
that.
surprising for my booster. And then they changed our computers in the office, and I was remoting in and not able to get onto my computer. That's why the report was later getting on. The IT were able to
Not a problem. It'll be
fix
okay.
that problem, but so
I haven't
apologize for the lateness
received,
of that.
oh, sorry. I haven't received any materials. The only email I've gotten since the last meeting was the one inviting me to this meeting.
Oh,
You didn't get, there were attachments onto that with the agenda and my report.
I saw the agenda, but I didn't see any other attachment.
the other attachments came later. The agenda
But
came before anything
Today,
else.
yeah, another, it was another, but it was another similar type calendar event. But it also had my report attached to it.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Yeah, and the minutes.
I
Did you
haven't
get-
received the minutes either.
No, I think I'm the only one that got the minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Jessica,
get
can you, Jessica, can you take care of that? I could if I was in the office, but because I have split screens there, but I don't hear, and I'm afraid that I'll end up leaving this meeting if I try to remote in. So
I have the agenda as well, but I myself was looking for the minutes, so I need to track those down if you want to approve.
So they are on the town website.
Yeah, I know where they
They're
can be
posted
found.
there. But
I'll
yeah,
find them
we
now,
usually
send
get
them
them,
over.
we usually send those out with the agenda. So they have to be up on that website pretty early on.
Okay,
Hopefully there won't be any problem next time.
Right.
well, we still don't have quorum, correct?
Well, quorum is, we had a quorum, yes, last time, absolutely.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
But as far as today's meeting goes,
They need one more.
yeah, we
Right.
We need 4. So, and hopefully, Victoria will come on, because I know she was doing some wordsmithing.
What about Shameen? Is she with us still?
Oh, yeah, Shamim is with us as well.
So
That's
she should
another
be-
member.
No, we'll wait and see.
Let me just say that while we're waiting, we have the 9th day today of our new executive director at the Holy Family Home and Shelter.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And we have a new young man. Well, young, I can say young, he's 39 years old.
Yeah.
a-
Hey, that's young. Come on.
I was gonna
My
say, it's young for
grandchildren
all
are
of us, for several of us anyway.
Anyway, we're exciting. He has a new vision for how to deal with homelessness issues. He is bringing a lot of energy to us, and we will be introducing him to the public in just another week or so when we get all our ducks in order down there. But it's really exciting to have him aboard.
What's his name, Marie?
His name is Ryan Fitzgibbons.
Okay.
And after he finished his career as a professional soccer player, he went to work for a Y in Wichita, Kansas, and opened 2 homeless shelters while there, one for women and one for men. Of course, this is a family shelter, so that's a little different, but nevertheless,
Good, yeah.
he has dual citizenship in the United States and Ireland, but he actually grew up in Ireland and went to high school in Dayville, and he's back in Dayville because of the pandemic and because of some very sick family members. During the pandemic, his Y closed in Wichita. So he came back here. His wife's a veterinarian. She got a job here. They decided to stay. And it's like he fell out of the heavens into our house, which is wonderful.
Good. Good.
Marie, do you know, I was on a call with someone from the State Department of Housing about our CBDG grant. And he mentioned that No Freeze was one of the receptors of the homelessness grant that they have in connection with receiving in a hotel. Do you know
Yes.
anything about that?
I don't know very much, but it's a real concern in the area of family homelessness.
Yes.
And that the director of DOH really feels that families should be in hotels,
Yes.
not in congregate living situations
Right.
during pandemic. So money is going directly to be administered, not by us, because we have a shelter, to put
Right.
families in hotels.
Okay. It was
We
almost like they
have
were,
concerns about that, and I will be very
Right.
open about those concerns.
yeah, and I would as well, based on the way they're, it's interesting to see the way they're handling the money. That's all I can say. It's,
Yes, exactly.
they've, unfortunately, as CBDG, this is not their area of expertise at all.
Correct.
And I can say that very plainly, talking with our contact. And some of his comments, I'm, appreciative that I have years working in the field, because they were what I would call offensive for the population. And these are the people who know nothing about dealing with poor people, basically,
Yeah.
who are making decisions. That would be the best that I can put it. And it's a little scary. It's a lot of money. It's a concern. That's all I'm going to say about it. So when he said that was what they were doing, and it was in relation to our program he was talking about, can you make a deal with, can you work with them on that? And I'm like, I don't think we can, based on what they're talking about doing. I didn't even know I didn't even know they have a hotel over there in,
They
the
don't. They're
closest one
using-
is in Mansfield.
is in Mansfield, and they're using
Yes.
that hotel.
Yes, that's what I
Okay.
thought.
Huh.
So, which is interesting, which is in Mansfield, which means we will bear some of the responsibility because it's in our town. So,
Correct. Correct.
The
But
state of-
we are set up at our shelter for in-house learning, for mentoring for children,
right,
for educational opportunities, all those kinds
right.
of things that I think are very important to our children. And they're
And,
sending.
and
our children to
also
hotels.
safety, as
Safety.
far as domestic violence. I mean, that would be my
Absolutely.
biggest concern, and rules about substance use and
Bedtimes and curfews
Yeah.
and 3 meals, 3 balanced meals a day, and all those good things that you
case
know about.
management.
Absolutely.
Just the case management part. I mean, the answer isn't just to put people in
It's
hotel rooms.
kind of a huge fight going on out there at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. And the funding, like I said, is not coming through an agency that has an expertise in this area.
Correct.
Because
Well,
the way it
it-
came down. I'm sorry.
It looks like we're not gonna have a quorum, so
Oh,
it's 8:40, I mean, 3:40.
we only got
Okay,
the one
here comes
person that
Vicky.
said that
We
they
got
were
4
not.
now.
We
Here
only
comes
got one
Victoria.
person who said
Victoria
they
just
were
need
not.
one.
Yeah, still not
Victor-
enough, right? No.
Victoria is just signing on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, she's muted.
Good. So we only have 4 though, so we still need a
Ethel,
5th. right?
Julia, Marie, and Victoria.
Mhm.
Hey, Vicky,
Hi,
Victoria, how you
Victoria.
doing? Let me see.
Um, Jessica, could you possibly give Will Beagle a call?
I can if I can find his phone number. I'm not sure that it's in my
Dor-
senior center.
Yes, it is, and Dorothy would have it as well.
Okay, I'll call him right now.
Hey, Pat, since Ron hasn't shown for months and months and months, should we just not have him on the committee?
I think what you can do is you can talk, as the chair, you can contact Sarah Ann Chain and you can send him a letter. We could send him a letter to see if he's
Could you
still
send him a
interested,
letter?
because I agree. Again, because I'm not there. Jessica, could you just take that down for a note? So, or you can remind me that to send him out a letter or touch base with Sarah Ann.
I mean, if he's not interested, he's not interested.
Right, and that affects when we try to get a quorum.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So,
Pardon me, but I'm not familiar with who it is that you want me. What is the person's name?
Will Beagle.
No,
No, I know
not
that. I'm
Will.
checking on
No.
that
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry. Ron
Ron
Baker.
Yeah,
Ron
Yeah,
Baker.
he's the one
Yeah.
that will send a letter out to see if he's still interested in being on. Yeah, he hasn't attended, I don't think since the,
Right.
since pre-pandemic.
yeah. So if he's not interested, might as well.
There's a lot of work that this group has to do, especially with the American Recovery Program funds and the agency grants.
Well, in the meantime, while we're waiting, you want to go through your report?
Do you want me to go through my whole report?
Well, no, not your whole one. How about you touch on highlights?
So, I can say the one thing that I was talking about before, which is the CBDG grant that we got for assisting family households in Mansfield with childcare, food insecurity, and we had originally applied for it to allow us to do rental assistance as well. And that the Department of Housing gave us $500,000. The good news is they gave us $500,000. The challenge with it is they took out the rental assistant component of it, which was our plan to spend the majority of the money on the rental assistant, because Victoria can and so can Marie say that's probably the biggest need out there right now, is helping people with their rent. So our challenge and had made it, really fairly difficult to spend the money, I'll be honest with you, because there are federal funds. So currently we have 26 families on the food insecurity program. So it has 26 households, I'll say, total of 54 people on the program, but we're not on target to spend anywhere near $500,000 on that money, on that. And so we're investigating partnering with Click possibly, and expanding the service area. So Victoria, this would interest you as well, Marie. So we're going to be putting out an RFP to do that. And there's a good chance that it will also include Wyndham, Chaplin,
brilliant.
Ashford, Willington, and Coventry. So I'll keep you advised on that, but it's been an interesting experience when people give you money and then make it incredibly difficult to spend it.
Right.
And unfortunately, what'll happen if we can't just give it back, because if we do, it may affect us for CBDG funds, which, we're getting a fire truck with that. We also are able to do, blight property and a low income, low interest loans for, homeowners who qualify. So it would be a real challenge for the town in the future to apply if we turn money back.
Okay.
So anyway.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
as far as food is concerned, like what exactly are the components that you're planning to do with
So-
this?
Our, so what we're looking at is touchless, contactless food components. And there's 3 areas. One is meal kits for families, let's say pizza making kits and taco making kits and that kind of thing. Pre-prepared meals is another. And then food boxes with much needed things like meat and dairy product, like fresh produce and that. So we've had some initial contact with Click on, doing it. It also would allow delivery, which is another big thing, because one of the things we found with our food insecurity programs we have, and we have several in the, a number of them in the department, is our lack of transportation in town, lack of storage, challenges with staffing, and not necessarily having the items people want. We would also make this sensitive to special diets like vegan, gluten-free, and that, which is another thing that most food box programs that are out there, only, you get, here's the food box and here it goes. And we really want to access local farms, so to help the local restaurants, farms and businesses in the town as well. So that's what we're looking at. I will tell you, it's taking up an incredible amount of resources between our department and planning. And it can only go for another year. So we don't want to create something that would then be a challenge when it ends, because the town's not in a position to
Right.
continue the program financially beyond this. So we want to make it, as responsive as it can be. The other good thing about it is the income limits are somewhat higher. They don't count SNAP benefits in that as well. So all you have to prove is that pandemic has affected you negatively financially. And I'll tell you, we can do that by just showing the cost of groceries.
Yeah.
I
I guess Will is not attending according to Jessica, so we're not going to have a
Okay.
quorum.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
but we'll go through your report anyway.
Okay, so that's probably the biggest, thing that I personally have been working on. And the other thing is we're in the middle of our holiday programs right now. You see the numbers on the report if you have it in front of you. This year, again, we're due to the pandemic, and actually, I will be honest with you, families prefer this. We're doing the gift card program. We're using gift cards where people can either order online and get it delivered to their home, or they can go to the store and they can do contactless pickup. They can make personal choices. So donors really like the Adopt a Family program. But in some ways, this is more responsive. We had built up a bit of a surplus of funds in the past because of, preparing for if we had a year where donations were lower, and we've been using that. So we've still gotten some donations, but it's meaning that we can, even though some people just like to give the toys, that we're still able to do this. So we're doing that.
How much money
Pardon?
have you gotten? How much money have you gotten for the holiday program?
I haven't had the final tally, but I will give that to you the next time we meet. So
Okay.
the funds that we've collected, I'll be honest with you, Ethel, a lot of times with this, we use the money we collected the year before because of the way it comes in and how soon we have to give it to families so they can do the shopping.
Right.
So we project on that, but I can tell you, we'll probably spend about $8,000 this year.
Okay.
We have 84 children that will benefit from the holiday program. The holiday program that I'm talking about, we also did about 165 people. I think you've got the numbers there with our
Right.
Thanksgiving program. And we will do, food baskets and food gift certificates along with the presents. So we also try to coordinate because we know other organizations have programs, like Wayne has programs, some of the local churches have, you know, and houses of worship do. So we really try to not, you know, double provide. So we make every effort as far as that. We also will have some stuff for last minute. We do have a cutoff date, but there's always last minute things that have come up or have happened, and so we always have that available as well. So the community is incredibly generous. This is 100% by donations.
Good.
There's a little bit of information about, you know, our other food programs, our case management program, very busy, you know, lots of people are, you know, very worried this year about energy costs with the oil prices going up. So I'm sure Victoria's agency as well has been very busy. So we've been assisting people with energy applications, as well as we do have, you know, a fund called Neighbors Helping Neighbors. That's again 100% donations that last year we changed, or 2 years ago we changed, so that we can help out, you know, coordinating with other benefits to help people with energy issues as well as other things. So
Are there a lot of people looking for energy assistance?
you know, this time of year, it's not as bad as it will be. You know, we find January and February probably the hardest months. You know, many of them start out with some funds available to them through their, you know, their energy assistance application, the state application. And then, you know, beyond that, sometimes Operation Fuel, which I'm not sure what that funding looks like this year. Victoria probably, they're the agency that does that in our area. And then we usually work kind of, we're like the place of last resort is probably the best way. You know, we try to get people to access what's out there, you know, and then use it. So
Victoria, are you guys getting a lot of requests for energy assistance right now?
It's picking
Yeah.
up. I don't know, do you include electricity in your assistance as well?
mhm.
Yeah, for us, it seems to be, we're getting a lot of, we always get a high amount of requests for help with electricity.
Right.
But just this, yeah, it's definitely starting to pick up.
Right. Don't you agree though? It gets worse after the holidays. That seems to be not only the cold weather, but people tend to not overspend, but you know what I mean? Money becomes tighter after the holidays, I guess is the best way to put it. So, our transportation requests, you know, are, you know, continue to go up. We do have some new volunteers, which is great. We are doing some trips. Some of them fill up, some of them don't. I think the pandemic has still got people concerned, even though they are required to mask up. And, you know, just about all of our users are vaccinated, which is wonderful. But there still is, you know, that concern for breakthrough infections, which are happening. So we are, you know, doing some of that. We also are using our driver to do some wheelchair transportation too, when things don't work out. So, but yeah, things are slowly picking back up all over. The senior center has had a very productive quarter. You know, again, it still is a challenge for people to come back. I think we're doing a lot of hybrid programming, as you can see. Probably one of our most popular things that we're doing are the drive-through meals. And I think people would like to, we're doing them, I think 3 times a week this month, and probably we'll be doing that. We're going to probably move toward it being a choice. That's what Sarah and I have been discussing, where that you can either eat the meal at the center and we'll have it appropriately social distance with the COVID protocols, as well as people can take it out. You know, some people are just not feeling comfortable coming inside, but it is a way for us to touch base. If you probably haven't been there when it's happened, but it's kind of like a little car parade, and it's a way for us to keep in touch with different people, as well as some of the different housing areas, or people come pick up meals for friends in town too. So, and bring them and maybe share it with two friends of theirs. So you know, that's been going well. Again, I don't think the cooperative hybrid programs are going to go away. It's actually allowing people who are homebound or people who are in a different location right now to continue to participate. And it's kind of interesting to go in and watch a group like the Jewelry Club, you know, where you've got two people up on the screen, you know, doing their jewelry at home. And then, you know, 6 or 7 of the women doing the jewelry in the room. So that's been kind of nice. We are requiring that our volunteers be vaccinated there because they're working with a vulnerable group of people. And so we're also limiting what volunteers do based because of COVID protocol. So there was a time when we had close to 100 volunteers in the center. Now it's a smaller group because of the way things have to be done, but our receptionists are back. We have a number of kitchen volunteer. The Meals on Wheels volunteers are there, which is wonderful. That's been very helpful. So
Well, we have our quorum now.
we do have our quorum.
We have a quorum.
All right. So now you can do something more than just listening to my dry report, right?
Well, she's in the car, so. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. And the other one to say is, you know, another big thing, and certainly Ethel's been very involved in this, is our court diversion program that we're working on. We are going to be going into a regional with the towns that also send kids to the high school that do not have. So it's Willington and Ashford. And so when that is moving forward right now, there's an agreement that the town managers and first selectmen are looking at, and it certainly has been reviewed by the you know, legal, and we're hoping to do that. It's exciting to finally get to this point. And you know, we're not eligible for the first round of funding for JRBs, but we should be eligible for the second round, which will be great to help offer a little more funding in that area. So
Will the burden be equally distributed among the towns?
the burden will basically be wherever the student or the youth is from. So I would say that Mansfield will probably handle the basic infrastructure of it and coordination, Ethel, but the other towns will be responsible for the case management and staffing, you know, staffing when you have the hearings.
Good. Okay.
So, you know, and it's a restorative justice model. I've been around for a long time, so I remember when they were more like a mock court. If you went to
That was a while ago. Yeah, we're back in the 70s.
now
remember
it's
those
very,
days.
You remember those, Ethel, right? You probably
I
went to a
do.
few of them.
Yes, I
Now
do.
it's very different. So,
Yeah.
and it requires that the youth admit to making the mistake, and you know, and it's kind of like you can use it once. So if, you know, there's repetitive behavior, the option won't be to go through the
Shameen
court
has a
diversion
question.
program.
Yeah, Shameen?
And I'm trying to safely drive and talk and monitor this meeting. I'm just wondering, how will that impact the time that your social workers have? Will it impact their availability?
So I, you know, and I was pretty honest with the council when we talked about this, because they've been very pro. There will be obviously some impact. It depends on how rich we make the program, and I don't mean by money. You know, if we develop it to the point where it's like, let's say Glastonbury's, it's very staff intensive. But you know, there are other modalities. So not every town has the resources to do that. So the council knows that. So if, for example, they want us to get into the counseling and very intensive case management and positive youth development programs that some of the towns offer, then that will take dollars. As I think most of you know here, if not all of you, a number of years back, not really sure how it happened, but the town made the decision not to serve the high school with their youth service bureau. You know, the majority of the youth who need these programs are definitely high school students. So, you know, right now we do case management and outside referral, especially for mental health resources. If the town wants to take that a little more in-house, then that would definitely require more resources.
It's my concern
No.
about the JSRBs has always been that it would negatively affect your staffing. And that would
Right.
put a burden on the youth service counselors, which
Right.
isn't fair.
Right.
That's
Well,
my concern.
yeah,
My
the council did appropriate the position that Kelly's in right now. Partially, I mean, probably, I think it was what, Shamim, half it for truancy and
I thought it was for the schools, actually. And
right,
to-
for
to
the
do-
schools, but also for the diversion. They funded both. But as far as offering clinical services, we will not offer clinical services to high school students at this point with our current model, unless they make a change as far as staffing.
I guess I would just say that, given the mental health
Right,
strains we're feeling in
Right.
and observing in children in our pre-K through 8 system, I
Mhm.
do worry about, we could use all of you. And then if
Absolutely.
this shifts something, it'll be worrisome.
Absolutely. And, and I know the last time they said, when I said to them, and again, you need to know that we're working with the same staffing, so that if what you're looking at is more resources, for the high school students, that has staffing implications. That the only way we can do that, particularly like you said, my hope down the line is, if it ever is possible, do more co-location of our staff in the schools, particularly when, the elementary schools combine into one. And that, because we know the need is there, and that won't work if things are getting absorbed by the high school. And I can tell you, having done, youth service in other towns that include the high school, about 50% of the resources go to high school students.
But
It's
that's
just
the
the way
high
it is.
Don't they have their own counselor? Don't they have their own social worker?
They do. The challenge with that, Ethel, is though it doesn't meet all of the needs, because, when counselors are attached to schools, they're often limited to school-related issues and problems, which means they can't serve the whole family. They can't necessarily work, evenings, weekends, summers, school breaks. So, and they don't cross school barriers. So, and it doesn't necessarily work with kids who go to private school or homeschool.
Right.
So, there's some challenges with just having school-based services.
We'll have to see what happens with it,
Yeah.
Get it.
Well,
Gotta get it up and running
again,
first.
I was going to say, this group is in advisement to the council. That's how it was set up. So,
Right.
your input on that. When I say it, it just sounds like I'm a staff person wanting more resources.
Well, you need more resources. I don't see how
I
you
know.
can do an effective JS, the diversion without having more resources. I just
Right.
don't see it happening.
Right. I will say they're talking about some funding coming in though from the state. So hopefully, that may help down the line. And, again, budget season is coming up. In fact, it's almost here. So, okay, well, unless you have any other questions about,
No,
feel free.
My concern, like Shameen, would be that the kids who really need the mental health treatment in the elementary schools are
Mhm.
not going to get it.
Right.
The staff will be spread too thin.
Right.
That's
Well,
my
currently they know they're that is our first priority is
Mm.
offering services to the preschool through 8th grade. I mean, that's the number one priority of our Youth Service Bureau.
Mhm.
So,
That's easy to say, but you know how you get caught up in things and before you know it.
Yeah, yes. And again, families don't, well, I mean, kids just don't drop off the face of the earth once they go to
Right.
high school either, which has been, as I know Ethel's heard me say that before, like,
Yeah.
I don't agree that we should end our services once someone leaves 8th grade and
Right.
goes to 9th grade. So somehow there has to be some kind of an effective bridge at least. But again, it requires more services.
Well, do you have anything else from your report that you want to report on, Pat?
Unless you have questions.
No, I think we've answered our questions.
Can I just ask if you were to get more resources, because you said it sounds like the state says there may be more money. Is the idea that you would hire more people? I'm just wondering, because I've heard that there's a shortage in mental health services all around.
There
And
is.
even families who've got insurance and the ability to pay for things can't find clinicians. So I don't know if the resources would even help.
Right. Well, but the money, I mean, if we had staffing, we were able to service people regardless if they have insurance or not. And
Right.
the way we prioritize is different. We can also bridge to resources or do case management if someone's getting mental health services somewhere else. We can work with the whole family. I mean, it's just, we can do both concrete services as well as mental health services. We're kind of one-stop shopping. So it's a great model. I love the town YSB model. I think it's an incredibly effective and can be very, it can be very sensitive to the particular community that you work in too and their needs. So you're right, it is hard. And it's not only hard to get mental health services, it's hard to get good mental health services. So, quite frankly, well, I shouldn't be saying this, but some of the providers out there use mostly student interns and people who have not been in the field long. And sometimes that works out well. And sometimes that's a challenge. There's an awful lot of turnover in a lot of the agencies. We don't really see that in our field, which is nice. So you can carry a student and work with a family over the years, which is, but anyway, but you're right, accessing good mental health services is really a challenge. So.
All righty, well, thank you. We should go back to the agenda. We have to approve the minutes. Have you all had a chance to look at the minute? I looked at them. I didn't see anything wrong with them. So I'll take a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All right, then we'll do that. Okay, so I guess we'll go to old bit. You don't want to do the budget update, do you, Pat, or?
Well, we're
because-
entering budget system of a
Right.
budget season. And again, I think the council will be looking at a number of different things, particularly since it looks like we will be getting more money from the state because of the changes in the pilot formula. So now would be the time to be getting in touch with. Now would be the time to prepare, if you were going to propose something new.
Okay, great. Okay. You want to do the old business review of the grants to agency application process?
Yeah, I mean, I know that people got a copy of the applications.
No,
I did not know.
no, I didn't get any. Nope. Nope,
I thought we sent that out with
nope,
right after our last meeting.
no, nothing came.
Jessica,
Let me
can
see
you?
that. Are we talking about the agency grant applications?
Yes,
that
yes.
were- I feel like we actually did send those out in September or early October. I can
Right,
double check with Dorothy, but I'm pretty sure that they went out.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
get
Did we
it.
get them by email or anything?
No, nothing.
I'll double check with Dorothy, but I feel like that was
Right.
something that we did.
Nobody else has got it, right? Maria and Victoria? No, yeah, we haven't
Did you
got it.
get yours?
I don't think so.
I have a copy, but I don't know whether I got it. I don't know when I got it. I have a lot of blank copies of their grant
If this
proposal.
came
Well, I
out
could
in
be
September, let me
mistaken.
go back.
I
Yeah.
could be mistaken. I believe that from that meeting, they talked about revising the application
Right.
process, so maybe that
Right.
was it.
No, I think actually I may have even sent it out during the meeting or right after the meeting.
I
Really?
don't
So
remember.
check.
I can look in my email, maybe.
Can you resend it if you did?
Yes, Jessica, can you note that? Because I can't go on my other screen here.
I have it right here in front of me, from 9/29.
9/29.
But that
Okay.
was from last year.
Huh.
Yeah, that was the last year's application.
Yeah, no, I
That's what
have
I
it,
would
I
have
have it right
sent.
here in front of me. I can send it to each of you right now if you
Okay.
want, but I feel like there must be other people that need it if you didn't receive it already, but I received it on the 29th of September.
Right, yeah, I think that was while we were meeting, I actually sent, I sent it out.
Okay.
So,
Potentially.
and I think I also sent the rating sheets out.
Hmm.
Really?
I'll have to look. I don't remember them
Okay.
coming over.
We can resend them.
Thank
So-
you.
Please do.
Those, I was gonna say, those are gonna have to go out.
Yeah, they're
fairly
due
soon.
on February 12th or something like that, right?
Right.
Right, but no, we didn't send it, we haven't sent it out yet this year, and particularly since we're gonna be talking about the American Recovery Act
Right.
program, one time.
So
I do
should I
have
send this
applications
application
too.
to anybody other than who's on this meeting or just?
Send it to the whole, send it to the whole.
All right, I better send it to Dorothy because I don't have that list.
Right, Dorothy has
So
that list.
I'll send it out to Dorothy, who can tell me who to send it to.
Right,
So you had a question, Victoria?
If I remember correctly, I think Ethel, you and I were supposed to just go over the application. I
Right.
don't think that there was anybody else. Marie, I don't think you were involved in that aspect of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that I was one of the drivers behind trying to get the application updated.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest with you, I did review the application and it's a lot better than I remember it being. And
Right.
I only had to put there, the minor changes, I think will make a big difference in the person who is
mhm,
actually writing the grant review. They're very few. We could do them right now if you're looking at the application and just tie this baby up so that we don't have to revisit it.
right. I think the challenge is gonna be that not everybody has it.
I'm
It's
gonna
interesting
apologize,
because-
but I did get it on the 29th. I'm looking at my old emails. I went back to check and I did get it, so I
Right.
apologize for saying I didn't.
So here's the interesting thing about it. Now, I first of all, I want to tell you that I did not write this application. I did update it somewhat when I came here. The town manager sent it out through all the towns. Very few of them got back with anything because they don't have an application. The one that did copied, it was basically the same application. So they must
Do
have
you wanna
gotten
hear
it
what
from
I-
Mansfield
Do you
and
wanna
used
know
it.
what-
So Victoria, you want to go over the changes you,
Yeah, I think it's very little. I don't think that it's a big deal. I think that basically on the first page, you ask for the amount that's requested. Obviously, we're gonna need to know that. And instead of specifics and maybe along with specify how the monies requested will be expended. I think it's important for us as readers and also for the writers to put it in their framework of what they're asking for, whether it's a program or a project that they're asking for the funds for. And if they can, rather than, I don't know, or if it's just operational expenses, and then they have to include everything that the operation does in their description of the grant. So I would just have said that I would specify whether it was program, project, or other. And then when you get down to, I'm sure you can't see this, but then at the bottom,
can.
below that, you ask for the total agency budget and then the income sources and the amounts. which is kind of redundant because we also ask for a copy of the organizational budget as a separate attachment. What I would find more helpful there is for either the project or program budget for what you are asking for the funds for.
Mhm.
Right.
And I would not only limit it to revenue, I would also include expenses. Summarize, they don't have to be in detail, but summarize. I think
Mhm.
that would be helpful.
Sounds good.
And then the only other thing that I had was when on the last page, when we asked for the current organizational budget summary, identifying revenues, I would also ask them to identify expenses. It makes no sense to me to look at one without looking at the other.
Mhm.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So who would revise this application?
I can revise it. It's actually an administrative, it doesn't have to go through the council.
Okay,
The only
good.
thing I can say is the council may say, will this work for if we're going to do one-shot deal grants through the American Recovery Act
Yeah.
program?
I would think so.
or-
I mean, we should know where the money's going. It shouldn't matter.
Or what, yeah, but because it's one-shot deal money, it's not like an ongoing thing. So,
Right.
I mean, they're going to be looking at funding for capital projects for, if someone lost revenue during COVID and they need to make it, you know what I mean? So it may need some adaptation. So, but that isn't connected with fiscal year. So it probably will be a different project. It's just, it appears that this committee will be the first group that reviews that. So keep that in mind too. I know the town manager presented that budget to the council, his suggestions. And I believe it was, I'm thinking maybe 300,000 or $400,000 in that money that the town would at his, that's his recommendation. But that hasn't been completely, but it's going to be a significant amount of money. That's what I'm going to say. So, and that will be a one-shot deal. Yep.
Question.
Yeah, go
Will
ahead.
there be a different rating associated with those funds than there is with the typical grant funds that you allocate?
There probably will be, just because it's in response to the American Recovery Program. So there's very specific things in the American Recovery Program that the funds could be used for. So there may be some slight difference, but I don't think it'll be that much, because we've been looking at very similar things. You see what I mean? As to what it considers human services and mental health services, which is what the agencies, would be the priority. The difference is it's one-shot deal funding, whereas the agency grants are, an annual part in the regular town budget. So
will those funds be in addition to anyone who receives annual funding?
can be, and then other people who wouldn't necessarily qualify might be able to apply as well.
That's great.
So, yep.
Okay. The review of the draft revised committee charge from the Committee on Committees.
I can tell you they're anxiously waiting for your input on that. They meet tomorrow. Sarah Ann was hoping that this committee would be ready for their next meeting to maybe, get back to them and then, possibly meet with them.
I recall, again, we went through the whole thing that they're looking at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And the only thing that there was one question that I had about some language, and
Right.
I actually had connected with Sarah about that. And then
Mm-hmm.
somehow I think we both dropped the ball after that.
Right.
Is Sarah on this meeting today?
Sarah,
Sarah
Which
Ann
Sarah?
Shane?
I'm sorry, you're used
no,
to.
Katie was the
Katie,
person. Katie had a conflict
Okay,
today.
so
so
I
she
did
couldn't
connect
make it.
with Katie, on that, and she was gonna come up with some language, and I was
Right.
supposed to come up with some language, but we just sort of dropped the ball. So it's
Okay.
really just one point, and I don't have my notes in front of
What
me,
does,
but
is someone comfortable with maybe going to the next committee on committee meeting
when
to
is
go over that with that? So they meet tomorrow, and I think they meet, I'm thinking it's at 6 o'clock, but that's not the meeting. It would be the one after that. Because it has to be on the agenda within so many, hours.
which is
So
when there,
let me, I will check with you. It will be the third, the same thing, is it the second Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock, I believe.
yeah, if yes.
Okay, all right.
Good.
So I don't
But
know
I'll
if
need a
if
reminder
Ethel or
and
you or who
confirmation.
wants to be on it. And I can say they're very good about it. They meet virtually and they're very good about getting you on and off quickly if there's a guest on.
Victoria, if you could do it, that'd be great, because you reviewed it and you have your,
Right, because you wanted to say
Okay.
something very specifically about representation
I think
for,
to make something broader, it seemed, I'll have to review the notes. I didn't
Right,
look at it before
right.
this meeting, but I will certainly do that before that.
right,
thanks. Thank you.
okay. All right,
Good.
good. So I can then let Sarah Ann know that there will be a representative available for the next meeting.
Yeah.
And I'll be on as well, but it would be better to come from the committee than from me.
Okay.
Pat, could you send me an
Mission.
updated, or not an updated, but would you just resend the copy of the document that we're referring to?
Yep. Jessica,
I
can
have
you make a note? I feel really bad doing this to Jessica. Can you make a
I'm
note
sure
asking,
what document,
it's the
I-
charge,
the charge is what she
the
needs.
council charge
Council
for
charge,
the,
okay.
for the Human Service Advisory
Thank-
Committee.
Thank you.
Boy, when you get used to working with two screens, it's very different to go to one. Particularly when I have to remote in, I can't split the screen. I don't know what my problem is, but
Well, thank you. Okay, so we did the ARPA funding already. We
mhm.
talked about that. So under new business, we had to vote on the upcoming meeting dates. I thought we had done that.
We did.
But we
Yeah.
didn't put it in the minutes.
Do we have to
So-
do
So I
it
can
again?
put it in this meet, if you
Yeah,
want. it's
you,
still
someone has
here.
to
I'm
make a
looking-
you have to formally do it. Someone has to make a motion. And you
I
have to vote on
move
it.
that we accept these dates as the meeting dates.
So
I'll need
moved.
a second, okay. So we're all set then.
Okay, thank you.
Been approved, done. You're welcome.
Unanimously, right? You approved it?
Yes. Yeah.
And then in the minutes, you have to list the dates and we can
I
get that
do,
over
I
to
have that.
Sarah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's
I have
okay.
that.
She can do that.
I have
Thank you.
Okay,
And now there's no public comment because there's no one here that's from the public.
Public.
So
Can I just ask a question about the meeting? So the next meeting is in January and then there's nothing in between January and April?
my
Right.
guess, right, my guess is we'll end up having to do a special meeting for the agency grants. Because the applications are going out later. Normally that January meeting is when we review and vote on the agency grants. But the applications are going out and later, and we like to give people a full month to get it back, particularly this time of year. This is a time of year when these agencies are incredibly busy. And they also have a lot of staff that go on vacation. So we like to give them a month. So if we can send that out, once we get the changes in the application, if we can send that out and they're easy, then we can, get that out to people. And so we wouldn't be getting them back till mid-January. And then we need to give everybody the time to review them here. So we like to give people at least a couple of weeks to look at them. And there'll be a number of people, it's their first time doing it too, so. But anyway,
Do you
So
This
know,
that-
This January 19th.
will be
I
when
don't
they,
have that.
when they run,
No, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
January 29th.
29th, thank you.
29, right, but I just don't think there's going to be enough time for people to, I don't know, what do you think? Well, we can decide. That's what I'm saying. And then it would be a special meeting. And there may be some
When-
other special meetings with the American Recovery Program too, Julia. I mean, it's just, those are our standard standing meetings. And then, you know what I mean? You can have a special meeting if you have something very specific that you want to review or discuss.
When are the grant applications going out, Pat?
Well, as soon as we get the wording, we can get those packets together and we also have to do press releases and that as well.
Sure.
And posting on for new people who haven't ever applied. That's one of the things the council really wants the word to get out a little bit further. So
Because I will say, this is an incredibly busy time right now.
I know, Victoria.
So do the extra, the AR, whatever it is, the extra money and the regular grant application, that all goes out at the same time?
No,
Okay, so
because the
first
council
one-
hasn't,
It's the first one are the agency grants that we normally do.
right, and
Correct.
those are definitely timed because they're in with the budget process.
Right,
So
so
the
they
information
should be
has to
ready
come
go,
back.
right? There's
Pardon?
nothing, there should be nothing more that needs to happen with them, correct? Are they good to
Right.
go at this point? You have everything you need from us?
If I could get the changes down that you had recommended,
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you wrote.
yeah,
I'll
if you
send
can
them
get
to you.
that to
I'm
me.
glad I
I
asked.
was gonna say, if you can get that to me, we can get them out, and again, we're in the middle of all our holiday stuff too, but we'll
Sure.
make every effort to get that out quickly so that we can get them back quickly. And if we can make that January, if January 29th date, that would be the best. It just, it just depends. I want to make sure people get the full opportunity.
So we're looking at January 26th, not the 29th. I was wrong. So January
Yeah, it's
26th.
the last Wednesday in
Last Wednesday.
January.
Yeah, it's the 26th.
Jessica has a question.
I did, but I think actually Dorothy on the side here just answered it for me. She just sent out the charge and the grant. And actually, I was double checking on the dates, but through your conversation, I was able to determine. I'm pretty sure the next meeting is January 29th.
No, 26th.
26.
I said the 29th. I was wrong. So 26.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's the
okay.
last-
It's the last Wednesday in January.
Yeah.
I
January
got it.
26th. Yeah.
All right, I got it then. That's
Okay.
all.
Well, thank you.
And
everybody.
we'll get, as those applications come in, we'll get them out electronically.
Okay, that'd be
To
great.
everybody, as they come in versus we won't hold them all.
Okay, good.
So
Yeah,
you
that
can
way you
review
can
them as they come
look at
in.
them, one at a time. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
You can look at them as we get them rather than all at once.
right.
Yeah, we can
And
review them.
hopefully everybody will be able to get them electronically. 'Cause
hope
It's
so.
really hard. It's really hard when we have to do them.
I will say that you should all have now in your emails, the charge and the app agency grant applications, because Dorothy just resent it to everybody.
Okay.
Got them.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, does anyone else have anything else?
So I just wanted to mention that I didn't get the report that Pat, you said you sent out. And
Yes,
so I just want to make sure that I'm on the list. I did,
well, you're muted,
Sorry.
Julie.
sorry, I did get the grant application back in September and I just got the one from Dorothy where she resent the grant application, but those are the
Okay.
only things.
And Dorothy sent out the human service report to Jessica, so could she send that out to Julia? So I don't have to remember to do that when I get back to my computer. Amazing how we have become so reliant on technology.
I know it. We
Julia,
are-
what is it that you need? I'm sorry, I feel like
I had sent her earlier to send out the human service update.
Right, and it went out with all of our Zoom link invites, I'm pretty sure. But I'll
Wor-
resend that to you, Julia, right now.
Yeah, just that Julia
Okay.
didn't get.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So if there's nothing else, I hope everybody has a nice holiday, safe
too.
holiday, healthy holiday. And I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have
Bye,
a great
everybody.
holiday, everyone.
holidays.
Whatever you observe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye
care.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.